You're listening to Ecto Portal, a journey into the unknown with Anthony Anderson and Verna Wilson.
I hope that you are seated comfortably with the light turned down and the curtains drawn.
Once again to another journey into the unexplored, the unexplained Ecto Portal. I'm Anthony Anderson, your host, and I'm sometimes here with my co-host,
Verna Wilson.
No, actually, she's here all the time.
I'm here all the time. I don't think I've ever really missed an episode.
She doesn't go home, actually. She just stays right here.
Yeah, I just wait for the next show.
That's what, see, she loves it that much.
Yeah.
This week's show is actually kind of dovetailed to the recent episode of Ghost Adventures that aired this last Thursday night, the Union Brewery of Death. This is a location that we've investigated, we've stayed at, and we're going to also call Jackie Kleeb, a good friend and investigator who's also investigated with me on several occasions the Union Brewery in the past. And we're going to share our stories and some of our EVPs.
It brings me back fond memories when I stayed there in November. So I'm going to really enjoy interviewing Jackie.
Yep, it's a nice town. It's a fun place to be.
Oh, Virginia City's great. I love it.
But it's very haunted. There's
very.
A lot of haunted places.
You can feel it even just walking around the town.
Yep.
Not even just that place, everywhere.
Exactly. But if you watch the episode, you saw what they're dealing with there.
Oh, I did.
And I'm going to tell a little bit more history than the show told you. Some more ghost stories that the show didn't share with you about the place that go back a number of years. So it isn't just the current experiences with Dawn in the Union Brewery now. They do go back a ways. So let's first start out with the actual history of the building. Obviously, it was built in the 1800s. I think 1865 is when it was first built. And then the Great Fire of 1875 in Virginia City actually leveled the building. It was in a different location. I think it was 40 C Street. And then when they rebuilt it, they built it at its current location in 1875. But the morning of October 26, 1875, dramatically changed Virginia City in more ways than one. It was a gripping fire starting at the boarding house of Crazy Kate and roared through the town, fueled by the dry timbers and zephyr winds. Panic setting quickly, buildings caught ablaze and mines filled with fire and smoke. Almost instantly, 8,000 people were homeless. And you've been up there. You have to go all the way up to the top of the mountain. So 8,000 homeless people on the top of a mountain. And that was in October, so it was already cold. The total loss for the city was estimated at $10 million. Luckily, the casualties from the fire were remarkably low. Restoring the town started immediately, and in less than a year, almost everything was rebuilt. Even the International Hotel was reconstructed.
That's fast rebuilding.
It is very fast, but they're all wood. They're wood structures, too.
Right.
The International Hotel was reconstructed, which had 6 stories and hosted the first elevator in Nevada. Now, the Union Brewery, again, was established in 1863 and now residing in the same spot as it was in 1875. So this is after the fire. This is where the Union Brewery currently is. There is a marker right above the door of the bar. So if you just before you go in the bar, if you look up, there's a little plaque, and the inscription reads, Beer was not forgotten, and 6 breweries could scarcely supply the people with beer, for Virginia City has a dry climate. It was originally located at 40 North C Street and destroyed by the fire of 1865. The Union Brewery moved to its present location in 1866. Beer was brewed in the basement, and the saloon was situated on the first floor. Fire once again destroyed the building in 1875, and it was rebuilt in 1876. Since its conception, Prohibition was the only evil that interrupted sale, making the Union Brewery one of the longest continuous operating saloons in Virginia City. And that was erected in 1986 by the Julia C. Bulett Chapter number 1864. And that's right above the door as you go in, that plaque.
Now, that was a few doors down from the paper, from the newspaper, where...
That's like a block and a half.
About a block,
down.
yeah. So they used to go... Didn't the writers from that paper used to frequent the Union Brewery for drinks? And
I'm sure they frequented all of them. Those ones, the Territorial Surprise that Mark Twain wrote at, which is literally like across the street from the Washoe Club.
Right.
The Washoe Club's where he frequented, because that was the Millionaires Club.
Oh, right, exactly.
But I'm sure miners up and down this street frequented lots of the bars and breweries and stuff at the time. So back in the day, in the 1970s, it was a biker bar, and it was, the Bad Boy Bar in a town of tourist saloons. The Union Brewery features chandeliers made of hundreds of accumulated bras tossed into the air by customers, sort of an indoor shoe tree of the inebriated. We can understand this might make it a civic pariah on the street, trying to pass as a circa 1876. The Union Brewery ignored most of the Old West mining motifs that its neighbors had, and set its sights on the early biker vibe, and to its credit, it's worth a peek, even a spell on a bar stool to sample the local beverages. And you can see the giant flag on the ceiling is from the biker bar age in the 60s and 70s. Yeah. They took down the bra tree from the ceiling. So that's not there anymore. Sorry, folks. You can't see the bra tree. But back in the one owner, Gordon Lane, owned it from 1950 to 1985. He was the saloon keeper at the Union Brewery Saloon in Virginia City. He died in November 14th, 2010 in Santa Rosa of prostate cancer. His saloon was an astonishing hangout for Nevada's most talented writers, artists, musicians, and politicians, journalists, along with a remarkable collection of liars, hard rock miners, and horse thieves. Lane's Union Brewery Saloon was one of the most democratic places on earth, and any subject, particularly politics and religion, were fair game. Novelists Robert Laxalt, George Williams III, Walt Vantilburg Clark were 3 of the many Nevada writers and journalists who hung out at the Lane Saloon over the decades. Now, one interesting story, which I'm surprised nobody's heard, especially on Ghost Adventures, they didn't even relay this. This is a story from a single mother in the 1990s who lived in the top of the Union Brewery, where I guess Don's apartment would be above the bar. In fact, I think she slept in the same bedroom you slept in.
Oh, yeah.
And she posted this in June of 2008. She said, I moved to Virginia City in the early 90s when I came to the United States. I wanted to be near my parents who bought a home in Reno, which is about 45 minutes away. I lived and worked up there for a couple of years and made many friends there, some of whom still live there. Now, when I first moved there, I was not just a skeptic. I was a cynical young snot who had no respect for her elders or for people who just knew more than I did. Virginia City humbled me, and my experiences there taught me to be a better human being. I would openly ridicule people for their religious beliefs or for their beliefs of any kind of supernatural. And this is odd because the truth is I had paranormal experiences in my teen years that I had just simply discounted. Now, with all that said, I would like to relate a couple of experiences. I worked as a bartender in the Gold Hill Hotel. Now, that's the oldest bar on the Comstock, the oldest hotel. That's where the miners' cabin's at. It's about a mile down the road from Virginia City. Housing up there is at a premium. There's no fancy apartment complexes or modern subdivisions, and people like it that way. Every home up there is at least 75 years old, if not older. I moved into the apartment above the Union Brewery saloon. Now, the bar is below the windows of my apartment upstairs. So actually, that would make it, this is be Dawn's room then, not the room you stayed in.
Right.
The window on the far right where the shutter is open is the bedroom window where I had my first experience. Now, I'd been in Virginia City for a total of 3 days. I woke up that morning and I saw across the room a figure standing there. It looked very solid, and I was angry that somebody was in my apartment. I wasn't scared because I didn't have enough sense to be scared. I was pissed off. Hey, get out of here! It turned toward me as if to walk towards me, and it vanished into nothing. Literally nothing. It took me a minute before I realized I was screaming, and one of my neighbors was pounding on my door. I opened it, let the neighbor in, and they told me what happened. He said, "It's just best to let it ride. Try not to think about it." Over the next few days, my daughter, who was 2.5 and starting to form complex thoughts and sentences, would come up to me and say that there was an icky man with a big hat in our apartment. She would take me by the hand and lead me into another room, but there was never anyone there that I could see. One night I came home from work and stopped in the downstairs for a drink. It was a slow night. I was talking to Mike, the bartender. We were just chatting about nothing really. And as we talked, I got the sense that we were being watched from some point I couldn't see. The bar in the Union Brewery is a long rectangular room. The bar runs perpendicular to the front door. On the long side of the rectangle, your back would be to the room. But at the far end of that room, beyond the restrooms, which are on the far left side of the room, it's very dark, and there's a pool table back there, and it's just not very well lit. I got up to walk towards the ladies' room, and I came to the restroom door. I thought I saw a woman through the crack in the door. I immediately closed the door for her and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know someone was in here." Now, Mike asked who I was talking to, and I explained. He said, "There's no one in there." He came back to open the door and show me, and as he opened the door, we both saw a round ball of light come shooting out of the crack through the door. It flew beyond us, and when we turned around to follow it, it wasn't there. But both of us saw it. It was about 4 inches in diameter, and it was lime green in color. After 2 weeks of living in Virginia City, I was ready to admit that I wasn't as smart as I thought I was, and I sure didn't have any answers for what was happening up there. Almost everyone I met up there who lived there for any length of time had seen something. All I can say is Virginia City has its share of whatever it is that can be called paranormal. I have had close to maybe 40 experiences up there. These are only 3 of them. Most were not very scary once I was used to it, but that took a long while. So that gives you a little more insight into that whole place. That's someone from the 1990s who lived there.
I wonder if they saw the same entity that Dawn's been having problems with.
They've all described as a man in a dark hat.
In a dark hat,
Yep.
yeah.
So I have a hunch he's still, and that picture Jackie had mentioned to me is someone in a hat, the silhouette of somebody in a dark hat. So I think there's definitely something there that's been there for a long, long, long time. And it's not going anywhere.
I'm not going anywhere, and he's pissed off and not a nice person.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, should we give Jackie a call and see what she has to say about the Ghost Adventures episode and share some stories?
Let's get to it.
All right, let's give her a call.
Hello.
Hi, Jackie Kleeb.
Oh, what a surprise. Hi, how are you?
Hi, we're good. Welcome to Ecto Portal.
Hi, Jackie.
I'm here with Verna.
Hi, Verena.
Hi.
We are here to talk about a place we both know very well, which is the Union Brewery in Virginia City.
Yes, that's a very unique place.
And you were on the Ghost Adventures episode that just aired this last Thursday night.
That's right.
How do you think that turned out? The Union Brewery from Hell.
What do they call it?
Yeah,
Union Brewery.
From Hell. That was the name of the episode.
Wasn't it the Death something?
No, just Union Brewery from Hell. Old Union Brewery from Hell.
Whatever it was.
Yeah.
I thought it was a pretty good show. Although I have to, when I saw myself, I thought, my God, my butt's not that big. Bigger than I thought.
Was that the one thing you were noticing right away? Is that it?
The camera does that, though. The camera tends to exaggerate people's looks.
Oh yeah, it does.
I should have worn a girdle. What did I know?
I thought your interview went pretty good, though. You were pretty
I
straightforward.
thought so too.
stuck to the facts.
They kind of edited a lot.
Yeah.
One of them, it kind of made it sound like when that thing grabbed my thigh, it happened at the Union Brewery.
Uh-huh.
But actually, I was at Susan's house in Minden, and I was spending the night there because she's got horses, and we were going to go riding the next day. And I woke up in the middle of the night, and there it was. And one piece that they edited, and I knew they would.
Yeah.
As soon as the words were out of my mouth, I said, "Yeah, and I did this. I grabbed a boob, and I said I kissed her on the neck. I said, but that wasn't me who did that. I said, I would never do anything like that. I said that's just as likely as happening as you hopping into bed with Aaron."
Yeah, I noticed they left that out.
Oh, that's funny. They should have left that in.
Zach would never have
I
left
thought
that
it was funny. He had a rather glazed look in his eye when I said that, but I figured that was going to
what
end
is
up with
this?
the cutting room floor.
You would have thought they would have had a good laugh over that and left it in, but oh well.
I thought it was funny.
Well, I think back on the episode when Aaron and them were making fun of him because he didn't know the difference between a succubus and an incubus.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, I think, I don't know. There's a possibility this thing is, an incubus. It got nowhere with me because I just told her to get the hell out of there. And I also told him, I said there was a lot of profanity involved on my part.
Yeah.
And then, and this is the weirdest thing, when I'm yelling at it, telepathically, I feel what felt like a giant electric shock in my solar plexus, which went out my back. And I was telling Laurie McDonald about that. She said, "That's right, Jackie." She said if they enter you, it's usually through, a spirit or whatever, through the solar plexus, through the heart, or through the feet. But I didn't know that before. But anyway, I got rid of it.
Yeah. Well, I just think about, because of the episode, because we knew obviously Nick and Dawn long before this episode. I mean, we have EVPs we're going to play here from like 6 years ago when we first went in there, and that was before they really started even renovating the place.
That's right. That is. It's we went there probably a year ago when the bar wasn't open yet, and it was me and Susan Barnard from Minden and Dawn Graham, the three of us. There was no heating in the building, but we were warm as toast. Yeah. Because I think Susan brought a heater with her, and Dawn borrowed one from someone. We had what do you call it?
What?
Those rubber like sleeping bags that you blow up. Except Dawn and I did something wrong, and they deflated, and we ended up sleeping on the floor. Oh. And I had like comforters, and we had pillows, so we were as warm as toast. You could almost feel it in the air. It was so thick, and we put a REM pod inside the room. We shut the door, and we put another REM pod outside the door, and both of those damn things kept going off all night.
Now, this is before there was furniture. This is before any of the stuff on Ghost Adventures actually happened, correct?
Yes, this is about a year ago, a year and a little bit ago. And I'm not sure if one of them says on one of the EVPs, "So you think you're going to sleep tonight, Jackie? Think again."
Yeah, we're going to play that one too.
I think that was the time I left my voice-activated recorder on the coffee table. Because that night there was Susan by the wall, then there was me, and then there was Dawn. And Susan woke up in the middle of the night. And I know she's telling the truth because this has happened to me before a few times, not recently, but years ago. She said she woke up, and she said all of a sudden she heard someone yell in her ear, "Jackie." And she said she couldn't talk, she couldn't move, she couldn't do anything. When she finally could, a couple of minutes later, she just whacked me on the chest and woke me up, and she told me what happened.
I wonder if it thought that she was you.
It might have been.
Interesting.
I wish I looked like her, but maybe that's what happened.
I mean, it could be. It could be they just assumed you were there. Let's go talk to Jackie. And then they're like, "Hey, Jackie." And then obviously it wasn't Jackie, so it must have freaked Susan out pretty good. Yeah,
under those circumstances, she's normally pretty cool, calm, and collected, but it did kind of freak her out a little bit that night.
Yeah.
But we slept great after that.
Do you remember back, this is going back when Nick was still alive. He was still renovating the place, and it was the same weekend you had your experience in the miner's cabin. Remember, we were unloading the car, and you went in there, and that old man was sort of disoriented, wandering around, and didn't know where he was, and you're like, "Can I help you?"
I remember the night before. Usually you sleep in the back room, and I sleep in the front room, but you were going to sleep on the sofa,
right?
Because of an incident that happened in the museum that night, which is understandable. So we won't go into that. So
yeah.
I go in, I shut the door, and I'm sitting on the loo, okay? And all of a sudden, I hear someone moving around in the back bedroom. And I'm like, what the hell? So I get up, and I walk in there, and there's this old dude. He's about 6'3", 4", skinny, with gray hair combed backwards, like the old-fashioned style, with like a plaid shirt, and he had beige pants on. And so instead of saying, what the hell are you doing in my cabin, I said, can I help you? And he just looked at me and said, I'll be leaving soon. So I said, okay. And I walked back to you. I grabbed you and yanked you back there.
Yeah.
Would have only taken maybe 20 seconds, that's all.
Yeah.
And he wasn't there, and remember, the door was locked.
Yep, and I was going to say, the entire time you were inside, I was outside pulling stuff out of the back of the car, so I could have seen anyone who came out of that cabin.
Yeah, that was the weirdest thing, because it wasn't an apparition. It was a full-bodied person you could have actually reached out and touched.
Yep, and the fact that he said, I'll be going soon, and he looked, and he said he was kind of disorientated.
I'll be leaving soon, or I'll be going soon. I can't really remember.
He sounds like he was very polite.
I was very polite to him.
Well, I always think about...
Well, I mean, he was very polite, but I mean, telling you that,
but
too.
You always hear people in the hospital, just before they die, people ask them questions, and like, what's wrong? And they're like, oh, nothing, I'm going soon. So-and-so's here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That was really kind of weird, but that place is something else. It's not as crazy as the Union Brewery, but I've seen full-bodied apparitions there.
Weird stuff there.
One time I was there with my friend Sue from Australia, and Tuesday night and Wednesday night, Betty Weimer, she was actually spending the night on the sofa next to me. And in the middle of the night, the bed starts shaking like crazy. Now, I wasn't afraid because, I had my shield up.
Yeah.
And, I've got Michael and Jason there with me. And I thought, what the hell? That's never happened to me before. That was on the Tuesday night. And on the Wednesday night, I wake up, there's a full-bodied apparition sitting on the end of my bed. So just instinctively, I kind of sat up and took a swing at it. And the next morning, on my voice-activated recorder, it said, Jackie took a swing at Jim.
Oh.
And remember the next time we went to the Raw Shore Club, I had to apologize for taking a swing at Jim, because normally that's not my nature to do that. It just kind of startled me.
Well, yeah.
I'm trying to think what else happened.
I don't think you had anything to apologize about. I mean, you were startled. What did they expect?
He's sitting on your bed, for God's sake.
Well, one of the very first things that happened is when we were there another time. I was in the front bedroom, Tony, you in the back. And I wake up in the middle of the night, and there's this hand pressing on my back. And I turned over, and something tries to yank the bedding from me, the bed sheets. So I screamed bloody murder. You didn't come to my aid. that did scare me.
Which is surprising, because I'm a light sleeper.
I just started reciting the Lord's Prayer. But then also, because most of the time I'll keep my voice-activated recorders on.
Yeah. And
that particular time, somebody did say, turn that thing off. And then my recorder was turned off.
Oh, weird. Okay.
Yeah.
It does happen. It does happen.
Sometimes I find that when you're in a place like that and you're using modern technology, when you get an EVP, any kind of spirit from another century, they don't like it. It's very distracting to them, and they tell you to turn it off, or they can't handle the noise or whatever you're doing.
Well, I think some get offended when you record them and you don't tell them. They're like, what is she recording this for? And I think they get a little miffed sometimes.
Since they understand what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So when I've had at the Union Brewery, when I've gotten some really good ones, I got some good ones that night. When I left the voice-activated recorder on the coffee table, and I've also had it downstairs. I've left it on there as well as using my normal one, and I've gone down to pick it up the next night. And I usually tell them, I'm leaving my voice recorder here. Just please come in and talk into it. And they usually do.
Yeah. Yep.
If you tell them ahead of time, you do get a very different response.
I make a habit whenever I investigate. I did that at Chillingham Castle. I set up like 3 or 4 recorders, and I said, okay, if anybody wants to talk, I'm putting a recorder right here. I'm putting a recorder over here, so you know where they are in the middle of the night. If you want to talk to the recorders, you know where they're at. So I think it helps when you point them out.
That's true, and that's also being respectful as well.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So back to what I was originally saying. So that same day, that same weekend that you had that experience inside the miner's cabin was also, we went to visit Nick at the brewery, and we were going to ask, I don't remember what we were going to do, just to say hi, I think. And we went by and talked to him, and we asked him all of his ghost experiences in Virginia City himself, when he said he got knocked off the ladder.
That's right, I remember.
When he would walk the dog, he would see people late at night that would vanish on the road. I mean, he had a lot of different experiences, and he himself said he was not a believer, but when he was working in the brewery restoring it, that's where he changed his mind, that he realized there's more in this town than I'll ever would have understood until having those experiences. So I think that alone.
That's true. And he was a nice guy, Nick. He really
nice.
was.
Absolutely.
And he went into there as a complete skeptic.
Yep.
He didn't believe in anything. But, and he used to tell them off too. And one time he got pushed off the ladder when he was doing something, I think, in the bathroom.
Yep.
And another time, what was it? He was pushed down the stairs.
Yeah, he was on the ladder on the stairs as well, and that's where he got pushed.
Yeah, and I think he fractured something a couple of times there.
That's terrible.
It really hurt him.
Yep.
Didn't he say it really was.
One time something got thrown at him upstairs? Wasn't it like a screwdriver or something was thrown at him, if I remember right? I'm just trying to remember what he told us.
No, you're right, Tony. There was something thrown at him there. As a matter of fact, I did get in touch with Nick.
Uh-huh. In
one of the EVPs that you're going to hear. You can't really hear him that well. It's not that great.
Yeah.
But he had a British accent, and it was like, Jackie, how nice to see you again. So then I knew he was there.
Yeah, see, it did. And you got to wonder how long. Maybe he didn't stick around. Maybe he was there for a while. I know that there's one guy, and we both know there's one man there that has never left. He's always been there. And this is the guy I think that they're still having problems with. I don't think he's going to leave. I think he thinks it's his bar.
He absolutely thinks it's his building, the whole damn building.
Yep.
And did you get that photo I sent to you?
I did.
When they...
the one in the bar, when they did the premiere of the Ghost Adventures episode Thursday?
And it's like a shadow figure, but he's wearing a hat.
Yeah.
So this guy, apparently, the people who have seen him, he's wearing a hat. So I think he came over to check it out.
That could be. I mean, that he absolutely fits the description with the dark hat, everything. So I wouldn't doubt it.
And there are other photos. You'll have to check with Dawn. There are other photos online, but when I went back to send them to you to forward them on, they disappeared.
Oh, that's weird.
It showed like, first of all, somebody said it looks like this guy with his shadow. Well, you can't have a shadow from a shadow figure. I'm pretty sure it was two different people.
Yep.
Because there are so many of them there. That one that you sent to Jeff, an enhanced one from when that big white blob came down from the ceiling and opened the door, which was locked, by the way. You needed a code to open it. And then they said, we'll be back.
Yeah.
And somebody else said, okay. So there are at least 3 of them there then.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty wild. That whole clip is just wow. The fact that you need a code.
Crazy.
You need a code to open that door. I mean, I noticed they didn't really focus on it in the show. They showed it, but it was really fast, and they didn't really focus too much on it. But
no, they should have probably said, you need a code to open the door.
Yeah, I was very impressed by that clip, because to me that really shows that there's something there. You know what I mean? Exactly. But what are you gonna do? Now I know when me and Verna stayed back last fall, Verna heard footsteps. Somebody grabbed my calf in early morning. Literally, a hand grabbed the calf of my leg and woke me up. I know Verna.
You were lucky it wasn't your thigh.
Yeah, exactly. And it wasn't an aggressive grab. It was sort of someone puts their hand on your thigh just to kind of wake you up.
Just letting you know that he's there.
Yeah. Yep. And it didn't startle me because God
maybe
knows.
It was a woman, Tony, because there's a woman there as well.
Oh, that could be. But we know we've been grabbed, touched, everything. So to us, it doesn't scare us too much. I mean, obviously, throwing something at you, grabbing your covers, pushing you, throwing you, that would startle us. But touching, somebody touching your shoulder or tapping your arm, that stuff we experience all the time.
I didn't get any of that.
Right.
I just heard creaking. I just heard footsteps creaking on the floor, and it was creaking towards my bed. I heard that, and I got up immediately, opened the light, and went to the bathroom. I took the opportunity to do that, and then I just went back to bed, and I ignored it, and it went away. And whoever it was, they went away.
Now, that was the same room that Zach sat on the bed and had the...
Yeah, I didn't feel any of
chest.
that chest pains or tightening chest, like not chest pains, but you remember he said that he felt his chest tighten. I didn't feel any of that when I was in that room.
Yeah.
I was fine.
No, I've slept there quite a few times, and I've never felt anything like that.
Right.
In my whole life, I've never been scratched. Nothing like really bad has happened to me. Startling things, yes, not really bad stuff.
It's a nice room.
And I've
I
never
liked
had
it.
chest pains,
Yeah.
chest pressure.
Yep, I had that once in a building here in San Francisco, but only once ever. But I've never been scratched. I've been slapped when I've been asleep. I mean, slapped where I wake up, and you feel it. But I've never been, when I'm awake, I've never had that stuff happen. Touch, pinch, poke, hand, put hand on my head, the spider webs on your face sometimes. But never anything violent. But
Spider webs on your face.
Right.
That's, you know what I mean, Jackie, when the spider web feel on your face?
Exactly.
Oh, the feel
that
on your
happened to me
face.
at
Oh,
Preston
okay,
Castle.
right.
It's just like you walk through a spider web.
Yeah, that's when they're actually touching you. And you feel it because you feel the tingliness like you do in a spider web, but you don't really see anything. That's pretty common. Now, I just remember the first time we went to the brewery, we wouldn't go downstairs at all, right? Wasn't it the first time?
That was the first time, yes.
You're like, they're telling me not to go down there, and I had this really
Oh,
bad
that's
feeling.
right. It was actually 2 times in a row. Michael and Jason, and these are 2 entities that I have with me. They're my protectors. Okay, they come everywhere with me. So that time they said, "You're not going down there." They refused to let me go in. They did say there's something bad there.
Yep.
And then the next time we came to Virginia City, we used to go a lot there. Exactly the same thing happened. They would not let me go down to the basement.
Yep, and we both have that same feeling. Like, okay, everywhere here we can go, but for some reason, neither one of us wanted to go down there.
Yeah, I mean, I had to listen to them because I'm clairaudient. That means I can hear spirits and I can talk to them. And I have the 2 with me all of the time, and I've got maybe like eight regulars that kind of come and go. Most of the time they're here. I've even got like an Australian woman. You know that, Tony, you've heard her.
Oh, yeah, I've heard her.
I've got one older dude who kind of likes me, and I've got one with a very, very strong European accent. He sounds like Bela Lugosi, but he's really nice.
Jockey Kleeb, are you there? That's funny. No old pirates that you could marry? No, just kidding.
Oh, dear God, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, now you said they were still having troubles even after the episode, right? They were still having problems with the place?
Yes.
And I hope this is a message to everyone out there. Please don't inundate them with requests to investigate. This is a real experience that's happening there. It's their business, it's their home, they're having problems, and they understand everybody's interest, but they probably don't want everybody knocking on their door to investigate, because every time someone goes in there, it's just going to keep stirring it up.
Even if people email them, and I think a lot have already, she said, both her and Dan said, they're not letting anybody into the basement. That's probably a wise idea anyway, but I think it's a very wise idea.
Yeah, I know a lot of people want to go in there, and who knows in the future if if it dissipates and this nasty man eventually leaves. But they're still having problems, so now is probably not the best time. They did the episode because they wanted help. That's why they called Ghost Adventures. But it's still happening. Things are still happening there. So even Ghost Adventures can investigate, but that doesn't necessarily mean they can drive anything out.
No, they won't. So in case you want to go there, I would just go and have a drink at the bar. It's a really fun bar.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Nicely.
Yep.
And then just go maybe to the Washoe Club and the Miners' Cabin, because the Miners is really, really active.
Exactly.
Now, who was the musician that we saw that night?
To go there.
The musician. Who was the musician that was playing, Jackie?
The one who tells all the stories
Oh
about
my
everybody.
God, Wild Willie.
Wild Willie. He was great. Go see Wild Willie play.
Great, but he is terrific. You just need to go over to him and tell him the name of the person and what they like or what they do, and he'll invent a song. I told him that one about Anthony Anderson, Ghost Hunter. He did pretty damn good, too.
He did pretty good, yeah.
That was fun.
I remember that, yeah.
Yes, definitely stop at the Union Brewery bar and have a drink and watch Wild Willie perform and give him a little hint and see if he'll make up a song for you. That was funny. That was a good time.
Yeah, that was really good.
Okay.
Last time I was up there,
yeah,
we went out to dinner, and Wild Willie was at the Cider House, that restaurant on top there.
Oh, yeah.
He was playing there. I think he plays all over town.
I'll see. So he has his gigs, I guess, his regular gigs. Okay, shall we start playing some of these? Now the first one, and I think I gave you the list too. It's on the information email at the very bottom of the email. There's a list of the EVPs themselves.
You see what I wrote?
What's that?
I tried to do a couple of those on Facebook.
The first one is from our very first visit, is when we went in, and this is when we were at the top of the stairs looking into the basement, and I dropped my flashlight and you hear bitch. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It's really loud. I'm gonna go ahead and play that for everyone now. Hold on just a sec. Oh, that was the front door we came in. Bitch. Hello? Is anybody down there in the basement? Bitch. 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 So I'm not sure who's the bitch. I'm not really sure who's the bitch. Is it me or is it you, Jackie, or is it someone else they're talking about?
It was you, Tony. Definitely you, not me.
They're calling me a bitch because I dropped my flashlight, apparently.
Yeah.
You exposed them.
I guess so. This next one, you just hear brace yourself. It's a little harder to hear this one.
For what?
I don't know. You want to let me and Jackie up there? Wait. You want to let us up? Wait. 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 Wait.
What were you saying before you said that, Tony?
I just said, are you going to let us come upstairs? So we were actually at the bottom of the stairs before we could go up to the apartment. We said, are you going to let us come up? And it said, brace
Maybe
yourself.
it's brace yourself for whatever's going to happen, although nothing did happen.
Could be. Could be. This is one. This was like in December. We went like a lot of times in 2014. This was with Tommy later in the year, and you and him are talking, and he literally says, "Did you just touch me?" And you hear one go, "He's a bastard. Leave him be."
Jeez.
But I just thought it was funny because Tommy felt himself get touched just before they said this. So this verifies what he felt. Here we go.
Yes.
Would you take me for a ride on your motorbike? No? Well, fine. Are you sure? Something's touching me. Okay, that's all right. I don't mind. Yeah, that was you, wasn't it? That just touched me.
There you go. He's a bastard. Leave
That
him
was a
be.
good one. He meant that too. He's a bastard. Leave him be. Oh, God.
Jeez.
He said it with feeling.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, like I said, at least it validates when Tommy said somebody touched him. He sure did, because this guy reacted to it. He's a bastard. Leave him be. The next one, it says, he's okay, come on. He's okay, come on. I think it's a woman, this one. It says, he's okay, come on.
Do you want us to go down the cellar? You want to switch places?
It could be. I still think it sounds like a woman, though. But maybe.
Maybe like an adolescent male.
Yeah, that could be. Someone younger. This one was kind of scary to me. If you say anything, you're dead. This is just me and you, Jackie. It was one of our visits. We're in the bar area, and just says, if you say anything, you're dead.
Okay.
Here we go.
And we're just sort of looking around up here in the bar area first, and we'll go down in the cellar. It's being renovated.
If you say anything, you're dead. Now, that doesn't mean that was to us. That could be to each other, like, don't you dare say anything to their recorders or you're dead.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, it sounded like a threat to me.
Yep.
And it sounds like somebody slightly younger with a younger voice.
Like, if you say anything, you're dead. Like, remember what I told you, when they ask you to talk, don't say a word. Because we know that obviously some of them beat the other one so they don't say anything or do anything. So there's obviously aggressors.
In a town like that, I'm not
Absolutely.
surprised.
So this sounds like an old man, and he sounds kind of funny because he goes, stick to plan. You can hear him in the background just saying, stick to plan, like stick to the plan. Like, you know, you can tell it's an old man, though, I think. Here we go. It just sounds like an old man saying, let's stick to the plan.
It does, an older male.
Totally does.
So, who knows? Now, this is one I've never had. Now, Jackie, you and I have done prisons, asylums, hotels, lots of different places. And this is the only location at the Union Brewery where we've left recorders overnight. And we had such a collection of odd sounds in one night that...
That's right. And there's a lot of it's, I think, talking, but I couldn't make out what it said.
Yep, there's talking, there's screams, doors closing, screws being dropped, things being picked up and put down, someone pushing
It was
something.
very noisy.
Yeah, this is a little compilation of all those sounds. Okay, there you go. An odd collection of stuff.
That was an odd collection.
Just weird. Now this is the same night, voice activation. I think we left them on all 3 floors that night too, overnight. This is just literally 2 men. One says, "Looking, they're dead." Here we go. Just looking, they're dead. It's just weird. This is another one. Stand guard, and you hear somebody yell, "Search!"
Maybe they were searching for a spirit.
Yeah, that's what I was.
I don't know.
Sending them to see if there's anyone around. Those are all the voice activations. This is the one now you got last year. I think it says. I think you indicated it says you can kill yourself. Isn't that what one of the spirits says? Just says you can kill yourself. I don't know how to take that. I don't know if it's telling you one of your options is you can kill yourself, or I don't know. But I thought it was unusual. It's different though. You can definitely hear it. Let me play it for you now.
They wouldn't be saying that's another spirit because they're already dead.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
They almost sound angry too.
You can kill yourself. This next one is Jackie's favorite. This is the one you were talking about, Jack. With you think you're going to sleep? Think again, Jackie. Think again.
Right, they're kind of talking a little bit over us or under us.
You know what's
so
funny?
It's not that clear, but it's a good one.
When you first played this for me, I couldn't honestly hear it. And then I realized, yes, Susan is talking in the foreground, and you can hear it in the background, and it's kind of a higher pitched voice that says, "You think you're gonna sleep? Jackie, think again." But you can hear it.
Right. This is a young male, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's definitely younger. All right, let me play that one.
Cold down here. Okay, Nick. You're here. Good night.
Yeah. And this is, I thought this one was interesting. This is another one of your captures from last fall. It's just, "You're a piece of shit." Yes, I am.
No.
It's loud enough. It's clear enough. Here we go.
Does anybody down here know Jet, who used to work here? Someone's right here, Jack. Is Jet's brother here?
You're a piece
Sounds
of
like two people arguing with each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I can hear "you're a piece of shit," but I can't hear "yes, I am."
Oh,
Yeah.
I hear it clearly.
Yes, I am.
Is somebody arguing something like he's defending himself? Yes, I am.
It kind of goes along the lines with, years earlier with, he's a bastard. Leave him be.
Sounds like the way they used to talk to each other, and they're kind of.
Well, they're still
doing it here.
This is why I agree with Jackie. There's definitely more than one that lives there. Absolutely. Yes. And I think there's quite a few. There's more than 3, that's for sure. And they like to sit in that bar, so I think that's where they spend most of their time, is the bar area at night. But I think they do wander around and do shit too. But like we said, they wander from building to building. Now, the one thing I thought was interesting on the Ghost Adventures episode is, yes, there was a fire in the 1800s there, and the building was rebuilt. But they mentioned, it was a funeral home. Well, sorta. Jackie, and so do I, that almost every bar there stored dead bodies during the winter when the ground was too frozen to bury them. And we also know
it's exactly true.
And the Undertaker building was literally 2 or 3 buildings over. That was the funeral home where the guy actually did.
Yeah, and we've been down there.
Yep. There was weird stuff there too. A door closing. There's no lot next door, so it was weird. But yeah, it's just funny that they called it a funeral home when in fact really it stored dead bodies. I mean, St. Mary's Art Center did that. Home. I think every bar has done that. That's on that street.
When we went to that the old funeral home, it was just like a big old storage area down the bottom, and we both were in different places, and we asked them because apparently the original owner, was in love with Julia Boulette.
That's right.
And somebody said something about him actually digging up the body, or actually the body was buried down there.
Yep.
And I asked where the body was. I think they told me under the floorboards, and I think they told you in the walls, or vice versa.
That's right.
Remember that?
I totally forgot about that, but you're right. Because I was in the very back where they used to lower the bodies up and down from the basement where he did the internments to the up above where the funeral parlor was, to where all the coffins. And I was there asking the questions while you were in the other part asking the same kind of question. That was weird. I forgot about that.
And we've got 2 different answers.
Yeah, which tells me clearly that the body is somewhere in that town in one of those bars, sealed up underneath it or in the walls. It's hard to say.
Yep. I think you're right.
So, but it was definitely weird. Yeah, the places, and I think the only people who would really know how really bad it gets is obviously Dawn and Dan. Dawn, obviously, if you live there day to day, you're going to know what's normal.
They're
and what's
there
not
more
normal.
often. Yeah, they live there.
Yeah. So when things are bad, they're bad. When she says they're bad, and that's the whole point that they did the episode for. But I just hope that it calms down for them. I hope that I've heard of other places where people like try to break in to try and investigate after being on TV, and I'm sure she's installed alarm systems, folks, just so you know.
She doesn't need that kind of trouble.
No, she doesn't need any of that
No,
kind of
there
trouble.
are actually alarm systems everywhere to the bar.
Yep.
The basement's locked, and there's also an alarm when you go upstairs as well. But they don't live there all the time because Dawn only comes there occasionally. Most of the time she lives in Carmel, and Dan lives in, same with Dan, he lives in somewhere in Southern California.
But I know they have people who live there who actually keep an eye on the place, though, too. So
they don't live there.
No, I know, but there's people who live in Virginia City that kind of keep an eye on the place for them when they're not around.
They do, right.
So just that there's always somebody keeping an eye on the place.
Which is good. It's good to have a small community that watches out for you. Yeah.
I just hope they can get rid of it because I know the it's a great bar. It's a great area. It's a great place.
And the apartment's really lovely.
Yeah.
Above.
Nick did an amazing job with that place up there.
He is very talented.
Absolutely.
In his renovations. It's really funny, I thought, on the Ghost Adventures too, that it scared the crap out of Aaron, Joey, the kangaroo.
Oh, it scared the crap out of me.
The same thing happened to Hines. We were in the back bedroom. He got up in the middle of the night to go to the loo, and he'd forgotten about it. He walks past, and there it is. I think he screamed slightly.
That happened to me. I got up in the morning. I was going to the bathroom. I turned the corner. I'm like, ah! There's the kangaroo.
Oh, the kangaroo. Oh, yeah. I took a picture next to that kangaroo. That's a big kangaroo.
Yeah, that did scare the hell out of me as well. It's very cool, though.
Yeah. The whole place is cool.
Absolutely.
Doesn't he have a name? They gave a name to the kangaroo. I
think
thought
it's
Don told me his name.
Joey.
I
Joey.
thought its name was Oh Shit, because isn't that what everybody calls it?
No, his name is... Oh, that's funny. Yeah. Yeah, she calls it Joey.
Joey is actually a name for a baby kangaroo.
That's right.
Oh, it's true.
Little Australian animal information for you.
Trivia.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, Union Brewery. So I'm sure you'll investigate again soon.
And if you're anywhere in Virginia City, come and have a drink at the bar.
Absolutely.
Great bartenders, great drinks.
Yep. They'll probably have stories of their own they can share with you.
It's a fun place to visit, if anything else.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, Jackie, I want to thank you for coming on the show and sharing
thank you
your
so much for sharing all that.
stories of the Union Brewery of Death.
That's it, of death. Okay, nice talking to you both.
All right, have a good night.
Bye, Jackie.
Bye.
Bye. Wow, that was a pretty good call. So
Yeah, that was great.
that just shows that even our experiences, and we're there now and again. We're not there every day, but if we're able to have experiences and capture stuff, EVPs like that, just being there.
Just for a short time. Can you imagine if you're there all the time?
It would be interesting. I would, if that kind of stuff happened and I was living there.
Sure.
I would hook up cameras probably on every floor.
Mm-hmm.
And have them run security cameras that you can record the DVR deck.
Sure.
Just to record stuff a clock year round, every day, every night, so that you can go back and you could probably collect a good collection of weird anomalies from that place.
Oh, I'm sure.
But that's what I would do if I lived there. I would have a DVR set up with cameras on each floor in each room.
Well, you may have given Don an idea.
You never know.
You never know. Don, if you're listening, there's an idea.
I mean, if I lived in anywhere in Virginia City, I think I would set up cameras.
Virginia City is an ideal place for that, for sure.
Yeah, because you're just ongoing and then just go over your footage.
Right.
See what you capture.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting, though. I don't know if it would be weird if you lived there and someone stood over you or tried to choke you or scratch you. Can you imagine having to still live there?
Well, I can imagine, yeah. I mean, I walked into several bars and several stores there, and you can feel like there's other presences. I mean, even the salespeople felt that way.
Yeah.
I talked to a couple of the salespeople, and they say, oh, yeah, we've experienced a few things here and there.
Yeah, so it's definitely, I mean, this was a few years ago. We walked into a few of the businesses and asked each one, do you have any ghost stories? And they would say, oh, yeah, and they would relay some of their experiences. So there's definitely every shop owner, and shops come and go up there, and bars open and close,
Mm-hmm.
but they all have stories. And in fact, I remember talking to someone, Barry, who used to work at the Washoe Club
Mm-hmm.
before he moved. He said everybody who lives in Virginia City has a story, at least one, if not two stories, of our experiences just living here.
Right. Even the most hardened skeptic has a story.
Yep.
They come as a skeptic, they leave thinking maybe there's more to this than I think.
And the real question is it because there were miners and there were so many mining accidents and life was hard? Is it because it's silver mining, so there's silver, organic, something is magnifying the paranormal energy? You know what I mean? Wonder what that is that's really triggering all this.
Well, it could be the environment. The town is very much the way it was back in the day. The structures, and they and when you have a structure that still has the same environment as you were when you were living, when somebody was living, you're going to get a lot of energy. That's what do you call residual energy, and also you're going to get a lot of people who had a lot going on in their lives. And
yeah, but I mean the actual trigger to where that many people have experiences beyond just residual stuff, the energy that's there.
Right.
Is it something in the silver, in the mines, in the mountain? That,
Very well could
do you know
be.
what I mean? An organic element that's like magnifying or triggering the paranormal.
It very well could be, yeah. Because we talk about energy spots. We talk about what triggers energy, and I believe minerals could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if the silver might have something to do with that.
That's a very good question. I don't think it's one that most people think about, but I do believe minerals and some natural elements can trigger that.
What did you think of the Ghost Adventures episode?
I thought it was very good. I thought it was very good. I wondered why these people experienced a different feeling than I did in going to some of these places. But everybody's different, and that's their experience. And I'm glad they covered it. I'm actually glad that they brought this place to light.
Yeah.
Because maybe somebody who actually is very good at driving away these type of dark entities will help, and Dawn can have some peace where she lives.
Yep, I hope so. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of places in Virginia City that are haunted and have ongoing experiences besides the Washoe Club.
And I do hope it brings more visitors, because it would be good for her business, and it's good for the town, and it would be a great place for a vacation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely stop by the Old Union Brewery bar and have a drink or 2 or 5. It's a fun place to be, too. It's a fun place to hang out. All right, folks. That's another episode for this week. And until next week, we'll say goodbye. Bye.
Bye.
Royalty-free, copyright-free music by Kevin MacLeod and Ross Bugden.